My guest today is Dr. Dipti Narwal, a scientist, mentor, and leader working at the forefront of Canada's commercial cannabis sector. At Village Farms International in Delta, BC, she brings her background in genetics and plant breeding to large-scale greenhouse production, helping to build more consistent, reliable systems through stronger propagation and tissue culture practices. In an industry that's still evolving, her work is helping define what best practices look like, while also supporting and mentoring the next generation of technical talent. Dr. Narwal also happens to be one of this year's She Grows honorees, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation. Dr. Narwal, on behalf of Greenhouse Canada and Fruit and Veg magazines, thank you so much for joining me for this conversation and for helping raise the profile of women in Canadian horticulture. Congratulations on this well-deserved recognition.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Amy, to you and your entire team at Greenhouse Canada and Fruit and Vegetable Magazines for this opportunity. I truly feel honored to be a part of this initiative. It's very meaningful to be recognized in such a space that celebrates women that usually people don't in horticulture, and especially at time when the industry is growing and evolving so much. And also, I would like to acknowledge Village Farms being a part of an organization with such a strong foundation in agriculture and culture that supports learning, responsibilities, and growth has played a very important role in my journey. And I would like to thank Daniel, who nominated me for this and supported me throughout this journey a lot. And last but not the least, my family, my husband, my two beautiful daughters, and their unending support. They're
Oh,
very
that's,
supportive.
yes.
And yeah, I'm grateful to be here with you.
Oh, thank you. Danielle, yes, thank you for your nomination because it was thoroughly engaging and was so impressive. Um, I'm so intrigued by the path that your career has taken. So I want to understand like how you got here. You know, you started in academia as a professor of botany, and now are working in large scale commercial greenhouse cannabis production.
Yeah.
Um, Describe some of those significant milestones that's led you here.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey for me actually. I started with biotechnology for my undergrad, and at that time I was still exploring the areas of sciences, and but I naturally was found myself interested in plant sciences and especially the lab-based works. So then during my master's in genetics, the things became more clear to me. Like I am more interested in plant behave on genetic level, how the traits are controlled, how the variation comes in, and how we can improve the plants using like selection and breeding. And that interest continued in my PhD as well. A large part of my PhD was focused on plant tissue culture, and I have spent a lot of time, like 4 and 5 years, just in the lab, working with protocols, working on the plant regeneration, and understanding how plants respond in controlled environments. This education phase, really built my foundation, especially
Right.
in terms of like my patience, because it was tough, and observations and working with plants at very, very detailed levels. And after that, I moved into teaching. I worked as a botany professor for a few years. I really enjoyed that time, especially my connection with my students and explaining them the concepts of plants. But somewhere I always felt like, what if I use this knowledge outside the classroom? I always wanted to use this like in the production field, not just in the classroom, explaining the
Right.
concepts. So this, I, luckily, God gave me a chance when I moved to Canada. I stepped into this commercial field and industry, cannabis industry, and that was a big shift for me. I started with the production roles, just the assistant technician roles, and it was quite a different from academics. It was really fast, very practical, and something very unpredictable. One day plant behaves this way, another way they this way. So it was unpredictable. But this gives me a complete new perspective. I worked as an assistant grower, I worked in propagation, and then in post harvest as well. So that phase was very important for me because I got to see the full plant journey from growing to
Yeah.
cloning to final product. And when you work across these stages, you start noticing patterns, how small decision can affect qualities later. That's what really pushed me to go deeper into the starting point of the plant. Like, let's start with the starting point from the
Yeah.
cloning. Let's begin from there. At the same time, I also realized that I am not I don't have formally, I never formally studied cannabis as a crop because in India it is illegal. So I've
Yeah.
never studied, but I did had the science background. So while I was learning a lot on the field in the industry, I took admissions or enrolled myself for cannabis specific courses from University of Gulf. I did cannabis production, cannabis quality and assurance course, regulation and quality assurance course. And that thing helped me to connect my practical experience with the science and regulatory framework of this crop. So after
Yeah.
that, I got into tissue culture. That made everything like easy and everything made sense. So I had the PhD experience. I have lab hands-on experience, and I had production experience as well. So everything came together for me. I would also say that I have been very fortunate to work with Village Farms. They supported my growth and gave me opportunity to step into this role and take ownership. I'm handling my lab myself. So they just showed me that trust in me. It was really amazing. And that made a big difference because it allowed to apply my knowledge and also contribute to building the system. So I feel like I bring both sides together, the research background and the hands-on understanding on plant cycle. So that combination shaped me
Yeah.
where I am today.
It does really seem like Village Farms gave you that space and
Yeah,
the tools you needed to develop
exactly.
into where you are today. So,
Yeah, I never thought that I will go like it's a bullseye for me that I'm gonna go to the plant tissue culture straight away. Yeah,
yeah,
it was amazing.
no, I mean, and it's interesting too because it is curious. I mean, you do come from India, and you were educated in India. It
Yeah,
is you wouldn't have learned this plant,
no,
right?
never.
So
Yeah, never, never.
it's interesting that the path you've come. So tell me, like, what's your day to day look like? Where do you spend your most of your time and focus?
So my day to day are it's quite dynamic. No 2 days are same in the lab. So most of my day starts with the observations. First of all, what I do is I check on my cultures if they are growing good, their shoot looks healthy, if there is any stress, or most importantly, if there is any early signs of contaminations. You know that first check is very important in tissue culture because small things can become big very quickly in tissue culture. And if you get like if you catch something early, then it could be controlled. But if you miss it, you're gonna lose plants, not even plants,
Hmm.
you're gonna lose batches. So yeah, the first thing what I do is check on my cultures, and then I plan for my day. Do I have enough media prepared? Do what do I need to culture? What do I need to transfer? And what do we need to do? Like prioritize any cultivars or not? So that's the plan of the day that I do. And big part of my day goes to subculturing and transferring. That's I can say is the most favorite part of mine.
Really?
I really, I'm always so focused on that thing. I even forgot the time. So I have to put an alarm for that day. Yeah, it's time to go home. Just leave it now. So it's really fascinating to work with so tiny plantlets. Like we have to like decide on at the spot that this plant is going to next stage, or is it going for multiplication, or is it going to subculturing again. So that kind of thing is the biggest part of my day. And other than that, that tissue culture is not immediate. We have to think weeks ahead for that. So I have to prepare for myself. Like I have to prepare for this. Do we have enough cultures? What our production team needs from me? Do we need any clones for R&D purposes? So I have to prepare for that as well. And next part is the communication. I have to communicate regularly with all my teams, like R&D teams and propagation teams, nursery teams. They will tell me their requirements, and I do tell them what do I need from them. Do we need cuts from the new intakes? Do we need this cultivar or that cultivar? So that's kind of communication I have to do. And biggest part is the troubleshooting because it's tissue culture. There is always a problem. So always something that plant is not growing well, maybe there is a contamination issues, maybe something new comes up, so I have to be very flexible and focused at the same time. And when I get chance, I do work on SOP documentation and trainings as well. So whenever we are learning something new, something better for growing, better to reduce risks in tissue culture, so I try to bring that in the process, so that the system becomes stronger now. So yeah, my role is mix on hands-on lab work, observations, most of it, troubleshooting a lot, and planning and communication.
You know, and cannabis is still a relatively new crop in Canada, especially at the scale at which you guys are growing it. Um, what has it been like working in an industry like this, where many of the rules around it are still being defined? Um, and as one who's helping set the standard in this industry, and I think you are, how do you handle that sort of responsibility?
Cannabis is quite different in that sense. Is on one side we have very strict regulations, like Health Canada is around like quality, it's around sanitation, documentation. So everything have to be well recorded and like everything have to be regulated properly, like and well controlled. But at the same time, when it comes to actual cultivation practices and things like especially plant tissue culture and propagation, there isn't always well established protocols or playbooks for that you usually see in traditional crops. So you're kind of working in both spaces at the same time. You have to stay fully compliant, but you're also building and refining processes as you go. So in my role, that means being very detail oriented, not
Mm-hmm.
just in lab work, but how do we document that thing and how we standardize everything. So whatever we have to do, it has to be repeatable, traceable, and very much aligned with regulatory expectations. So
Yeah.
in terms of responsibility, I think being very mindful that the system we build needs to both scientifically sound and operationally consistent as well, because when they are in place, they have a large impact.
Yeah.
So I usually prefer to test the things, observe results, and then standardize them properly, rather than just rushing into the changes. And yeah, I think working in this kind of environment really teaches you a balance between compliance and innovation, and balance between flexibility and consistency.
We talked about how your work has helped move production from reacting to plant issues to preventing them. So, can you walk us through what one of those shifts in practice looked like?
This thing really became clear to me during my time in the propagation, when I used to be a clone propagator at, you can say, propagation supervisor. I was responsible for maintaining all the mother plants, and over time you will start noticing the patterns in there. If the mother plant are not stable, they are not healthy, and see slight stress in them. Maybe something is not fully right. You can see that in the clones as well. So at some clones may root faster, some may slower, some look healthy, some don't. So it's a lot. So at that very stage, you are already creating the variability. So it's not the problem starts later, but it actually is the right there at the mother level. So where I started shifting my focus on mothers. So I try to like keep mothers as consistent, as healthy as possible, so that it will directly improves the quality of clones. But then I also realized that there is a limitation too. uh, Even if the mother looks healthy outside, you can still have hidden issues inside the plant, like viruses, like internal microbes, we call them endophytes. So this completely changed my mind makeup here, like what should be done at we should go beyond that. So at that time, plant tissue culture really changed my approach. So in tissue culture, especially when we work with the meristem based tissues, we are able to start with much cleaner plant material, especially virus free. Those plants are virus free and without any internal endophytes. So everything is done under sterile conditions. We are controlling the contamination from beginning instead of managing it later on. So
Hmm.
instead of just selecting the healthy mothers, you are actually creating a clean baseline for entire crop.
Yeah.
So, and you can see the impact. The plants are more uniform and more predictable, and you don't see those hidden issues in there. No viruses, no endophytes. So yeah, I would say the shift was really about understanding where variability starts. So bang on that thing, and then pushing that control earlier and earlier in the process.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's true. Like you got to start clean if you
Yeah,
want,
everything is
right?
good.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so you helped formalize SOPs and strengthen propagation systems. Why is that level? I think you have already kind of said this, but why is that level of consistency so critical in a crop like cannabis?
Okay. For cannabis, it is very important for, like, specifically in the cannabis because it's quite sensitive plant, very sensitive at the early stages, like propagation and tissue culture, especially because a lot of what we do is depends upon the small factors like media preparation. You can say if
Yeah.
something is off, like nutrient, hormone, or even a slight variation in the pH, it will result in something different. Like the plant will respond total different. Some will go slower in growth, and some will go faster in growth. So it's a small thing, but have a huge impact. Same is with the timing. If the timing of the transfer it's not right at the right stage, the plant will behave differently in the media as well. And the big thing is the contamination issue. In plant tissue culture, you know that we have to work in aseptic conditions all the time. So even if there is a variation in the handling techniques, if I'm not doing and something else, someone else is doing, and they forgot any step, like even once washing your hands properly, like changing gloves after a batch, it can lead to contamination and it will
Yeah.
lead to loss of batch, the whole batch. So and the tricky part is you won't get it no at the same time. You will see it later on in the growth. So I have seen that especially in the propagation. If your starting material is not consistent, it can affect like canopy development too, light distribution, and your yield and quality totally changes. And when all these things are happening in the background, uh, there comes the SOPs. When we
Yeah.
have SOPs, we have everything written. We will be following each and every step, like same media, same process, same timing, same handling, and you're not leaving anything on the chance.
Yeah.
So consistency is also important from compliance side as well, because you need proper documentation, traceability, and repeatable processes. You should be able to show them that what you have done today, you have done it before as well. So it should be repeatable. They will see, yeah, it is in the process, it is in the SOPs. So I would say that, yeah, SOP help bring control at both levels, like the plant size and the process side as well.
Hmm.
And they make the system more stable and make it easier to maintain quality when you're working at that scale, such a
Yeah. Do
big.
you see these systems and standards, SOPs you're building in cannabis translating into other areas of horticulture?
Yeah, I definitely see that happening. For me, when it comes to growing, it is how the plants behave. So I always feel like every plant is kind of speaking to you. You just need to learn how to read it. So when you're working in cannabis, when I was working in cannabis, I have understood it better because this plant responds very quickly. They are very sensitive and they respond very quickly. The one day you will do something and next day they will show you, yeah, you did this to me. So yeah, if something is off, like nutrition is off or environment handling is different, any kind of stress, you will see it in the growths, how it grows, how it responds, and how it recovers as well.
Yeah,
So and once you start noticing that, you realize that this is not just cannabis, it is a general plant behavior. This is true for everything, every plant you're growing. So whether it's cannabis, berries, ornamentals, and greenhouse vegetables, plants do respond in very similar ways.
yeah,
So the biology never changes. So your roots needs to establish, roots still respond to hormones, and plants do respond to stress. If any kind of stress, they will respond it very soon. So I have seen this especially in the tissue culture. We are working at a very small level, watching shoots multiply, how roots initiate, and how plants respond to media changes. And those responsibles are very consistent in terms of plant physiology,
yeah,
and even if the crop is different. So what we are learning here is not just the cannabis system, it's how to observe plants more closely and what and understand what they're telling to you.
yeah,
And then you start applying these things everywhere, like in propagation, greenhouse production. If a plant is not performing well, it's not random. There is always a reason. Maybe it's a stress, maybe some kind of handling, we handle them badly, maybe any kind of nutrition lack. So the plant will show you for sure. Instead of just reacting, you need to ask, yeah, what we have done wrong here, something is not good. And I think that approach translates to all the crops. So maybe not the exact protocol, won't always transfer one to one, but the way of thinking definitely does. So observe the plants, understand the response, and then build your system around that. That I
yeah.
can say that, yeah.
I think that's really good advice. As someone working in this sector, that's very, very technical and still evolving, um, what has your experience been like as a woman? I mean, we're talking about She Grows. Um, and how do you feel you would support others coming into similar roles?
Okay, I think for me, it's been a journey of growing into the role more than anything.
Yeah.
So when I first moved into the commercial side, especially the production side, into more technical work like propagation, tissue culture, it was very different environment from the academics. We have to just teach the concepts, and here we are applying all the concepts. So things move fast here, and decision does matter a lot. When you're working with system, it directly affects large number of plants, not just a few plants or few batches. It's whole greenhouse. So being in that kind of space as a woman, I feel certain pressure, not always from others but from myself as well,
Yes.
right? When you want to be very sure about your decisions, what you're doing, you need to, like, you are always double checking on yourself, if I'm doing right, if I'm doing wrong. You think before you speak, should I say that so should I say that or not? And you want to be always like accurate, so you don't want to fumble everywhere. So in the beginning, I used to spend a lot of time like understanding, just observing people, how things are done, how people are making decisions here, how problems are being handled here. And slowly I started understanding the system better. I became more confident in taking decisions myself. I still remembers the time when something goes unexpected in the lab, some kind of issue, some contamination issues or delayed issues, like we couldn't transfer them on the time, and there were issues. And at that time, I never waited for anyone to step in and help me. I was like, yeah, I have to find the cause and fix it myself, and those situations really helped me grow a lot.
Yeah.
So because when you start handling things like I did, I was like, yeah, I can do this now. It gives you confidence, right? So yeah,
Yes.
it built a confidence. Yeah, no, I can do this. I don't need any help, right? I can take care of this. So it's something like it's very important to take the ownership. If you see
Yes.
something, just step into it and improve it. Just don't wait for anyone to assign that to you. Yeah, you need to do that. No, it's my thing. I have to improve it. I will do it. So this ownership is very important. And in terms of supporting others, I can say that especially for the women and the people in the technical roles,
Yeah.
uh, I try to make the learning less overwhelming. Whenever I'm training people and teaching someone the concepts, I try to be like, just don't focus on the steps. Let's let's find the reason why we are doing this. Why we are doing this? What's happened if we do that? What happened if we do this? So it's about explaining them the concept, not just don't follow the steps, that go behind the whys, why plant is behaving this way, what
Yeah.
should be done. So because once they understand that, they start thinking of their own instead of just following my instructions. Yeah, she said that do this. No, they know that why we are doing this, why we should not do that. So it's also, I also create an environment from my colleagues or my friends around me to just ask questions. If you feel you have a doubt, you are not getting that thing, just ask me questions instead of making mistakes, and you're most welcome to make the mistakes as well, because mistakes, if you make the mistakes, you're going to learn a lot.
Yes.
And lastly, I guess I feel like helping others trust their observations. It's not just my observations. I have team in my lab. I trust their observations as well. If you see something is not right, it isn't. It is always saying something to you. So just try to listen to plants.
What advice would you give to someone, especially a young woman, who's interested in building a career like you have at the intersection of science and commercial horticulture?
Okay, so for that, I would say build a strong foundation in science first, because that is the most important thing. But don't just feel that that's enough on its own. You have foundation, but the actual working and the theoretical knowledge, there is a huge difference between those two things. So
Yes.
you do need that foundation, but you need to work on the plants themselves as well. So because I have seen that actual difference between this in my own case as well. I have never studied cannabis during my education, I told you earlier. So my background was like in genetics, plant breeding, and biotechnology. So I had that scientific base, but there was no crop specific knowledge to me. That's why I got enrolled in those two courses to get to know deeper in that cannabis field. And honestly, that hands-on learning was very important for me. What I have done in my actual field practices, and also what I have learned through those courses, that helped me a lot to understand the system from the ground level. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, we should go with the experience and then theory, and then we should go like combine those two things together. And I would recommend that approach. And
Yes.
also, I would recommend people don't hesitate to start from the roles that doesn't look like ideal in the beginning. You can start from small, but because those stages will teach you a lot, because you will be working very closely with the plants at that time. I have started as a technician in a greenhouse, so I can say that that is the most like learning curve for me. I've learned a lot about the plants, like in practically way. So every stage will teaches you something. In my journey, working across the production, propagation, post harvest, gave me a full picture of life, like a plant life cycle, and that's something I rely on every day now. That I
Yeah.
know that how that plant will behave, how this thing will gonna impact the plant in later stages. And another thing I would say is stay curious, always ask questions. Ask,
Yeah.
ask, ask until you get it. Just ask. And for women or for people, just don't doubt yourself in the technical roles.
Yeah.
Nobody knows everything from the start. We will learn gradually, and never be afraid to take the responsibilities. Whenever you find something and we can improve it, just take the responsibility and step it in.
I think that's a really good point for a lot because especially in these technical environments, it can be intimidating, right? To have that confidence and to take that responsibility. So, but you're right, taking ownership of that
Yeah,
and just finding the confidence in your own skill set
yeah,
is really important to like move forward and get
go
better.
for it. Yeah,
Yeah,
go for it. Yeah.
go for it. Exactly. I'm kind of curious about, what excites you most about this work? You did talk about how you love working with the really young plants, right? Um, what is it about this work and this crop
And
that
this crop.
excites you? Yeah.
Uh, what excites me most is in the lab, no 2 days are same. You always have something different coming in. Yeah, let's bring it on. That kind of like things are always going on. Every day in the lab, like bring something different. Some days everything is like going so well, so perfectly. Everything is calm, smooth, and everything is so perfect. And the very next day you will see, yeah, contamination issues. Oh my God, the delayed issues. Oh my God. So you are like I always feel like I'm working not with the plants but with the babies. They have their own mood. They can change any time.
They
So
could
they
be
have their own.
teething.
Yeah, there is always like their own tantrums. So that 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 really excites me a lot. And when you check on them and when you see that they are growing so fine, when you change something and they're responding to that thing, it really excites me a lot. And what excites me the most is the plant journey. Uh, you might not have seen that. Have you seen a micromeristem cultures? They are so tiny you can't even see with your naked eyes.
Yeah.
They're so tiny. And when we grow them, like we culture them and we see them growing every day because we have to check the cultures every day, and they grow into a full mom, big mom, well, thriving mom. So that gives me a feeling like, yeah, we are doing something. We're doing something meaningful, right?
Yeah.
And when I go to the nursery and in the flower rooms here, sometimes we go and check on those plants, and it feels like each and every plant is coming from my lab. That gave me a sense of like,
You're
yes, yeah, yeah, that's what I'm doing here.
they're your
There-
babies.
These are my babies. Yeah. Sometimes in a fun way, I always call myself a mother of dragons.
I
Yeah,
love
these are
that.
yeah, yeah, I am. So these are all my babies. Earlier in my earlier roles in my job, in my other company when I used to work as a clone supervisor, they gave me a name of mother of clones. So after mother of clones, I'm mother of moms now. So
Yeah.
I'm mother of dragons.
I think that's great. I
Yeah.
if that was my nickname, I would feel pretty good about that.
Yeah.
Um, so, in the spirit of She Grows and marking Year of the Woman Farmer, uh, when you think about your journey um, from academia to industry, from research to large scale production, what does growing mean to you?
For me, meaning of growing had really evolved over time because in the beginning, it was straightforward, like growing the plants, understand the plants, research for them, study them, improve them. It was all about the plants. But when I moved from academics to industry, that definition totally changed because I had to step in a completely different environment where everything was practical and your small decision does matter a lot. So I had to learn new things, new responsibilities, and adapt to a new way of working, and where decision does matter and decision does not matter. They impact a lot of plants. So at that point, growing was just not about the plants. It was about me as well. I was growing with
Mm.
them. So another thing I've realized is growth is not always the fast. Like if we see the plants, it takes time, consistency, and right conditions. When you get three of them, you will grow with the plants. So you don't see the results immediately, but if you keep putting your efforts, the things will come together one day. And I see that connection very clearly with my work, with my plants. When I start with something that small, like micromeristem culture that you can't even see, and then grow into a healthy mother plant, it reminds me that growth is a process,
Mm-hmm.
It need care, it need patience, and needs right environment. And I think same applies to us as an individual as well.
Mm-hmm.
And also for me, growing is, it's not just personal, it's about team. If your team is growing, you are growing with them. So
Yeah.
it's a never ending process. You will
Mm-hmm.
be growing all the time.
Yeah, I mean, that's life, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a great note to wrap up on here. And Dr. Narwal, thank you so much
Thank you
for
so much, Amy.
having this conversation with me. And again, congratulations on being one of our first She Grows honorees.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. And I really enjoyed the conversation with you.
I would like to thank Dr. Dipti Narwal, one of our first She Grows inductees, for joining me to chat about her experience as a woman grower in the Canadian horticulture industry. And on behalf of Greenhouse Canada and Fruit and Veg magazine, thank you for tuning in. Please be sure to check out the conversations with our other inspired growers featured as part of this year's group of She Grows honorees.